What's going on, Throd Squad? Welcome back. If you guys are new to the channel, you might want to consider subscribing. But today, we are going to be doing some regular maintenance on the SSR 125 pit bike. But this maintenance applies to every single four-stroke that's going to be out there. So it doesn't matter if it's a pit bike or a dirt bike. We're going to get started, and I'm going to show you guys what you should do in between every other ride. So first of all, we're going to start off by just changing out the spark plug. All right, so after you've located where your spark plug is, you're gonna wanna pull this right off. You know, I have the right socket, and you're gonna wanna set it on there, and then you're gonna wanna just loosen up your spark plug, and then you wanna remove it. Now this spark plug is actually the original one that came on this bike, so it has about 100 hours on it. I should have changed it a lot sooner, but I haven't had a problem with it until recently. But if you guys can look at that, it is pretty black, so it's definitely no good anymore. What had happened is I had the Nibby carburetor on it. I actually switched back to the knockoff Mikuni. This is $36 on Amazon. If you guys want to get one of these for your pit bikes, go take a look at the description. It is in our video that says best mod for $35 in our SSR pit bike playlist. So as you can see, that is just so dirty. It's just not going to give you any spark. I could take a piece of sandpaper, sand it down, and reuse it, but it's some off-brand spark plug. I have no idea what it is. So I went to the store, and all they had in stock was an Autolite, which is better than nothing. I wanted to get an NGK. They just didn't have them in stock. So this spark plug already comes pre-gapped. So if you guys can tell, the gap on this is actually a lot smaller than the previous one, just because over time, the little electrode on here wears out. So just reinstall your new spark plug and then give it a nice little snug, but not too tight. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about. So I just finger tightened it all the way in, and then you're gonna wanna turn it just a little bit, and then just a tiny little bit. So basically use your ring finger right here and your thumb, and just give it a little snug, just like so. You don't want it to be too tight, and you also don't want it to be too loose, so that's gonna fall out. I would also recommend putting some anti-seize onto the threading. So I inspected my spark plug wire, and I noticed that it had a crack in here. So it's time for a replacement. So I'm gonna order a new one. So after you have reinstalled your new spark plug and you've checked your wire real fast, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna go over your whole bike, and you're gonna wanna check every single bolt. So the next step you want to do after you've checked all the bolts on the motor and on the whole chassis of the bike, you're going to want to go down here, and you're going to want to find your oil drain plug. Mine is located right here, and you can see it right from the bottom. Now I've already loosened it up a little bit, so that way I could just unscrew it right here for you guys. So now that it's loose, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to come up here to your oil fill cap, and you're going to want to remove this oil fill cap. And these things sometimes can get really tight, and you want to be careful because some of these are brittle, so you just want to loosen them up. Don't get pliers and try to loosen these up with pliers, because you could potentially just break it off, and then getting these off is going to be a pain. Most of these are plastic, so some of them have a oil fill level on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this, and I'm going to set it right off to the side. Now that it's off, you want to go down here and use your fingers to unscrew this. What I like to do is I like to push up as I'm unscrewing. This way, the oil doesn't just drain all over my fingers. But you can get really lucky if you're good at this. You can get as minimum amount of oil on your fingers as possible. So just unscrew it until it's done and pull away. Okay. I still got a little bit of oil, but not too much. So I'm gonna let this drain out. Now that your oil is draining out, you want to check it for impurities. As you can tell, the oil that's coming out of here is pretty clean. We do change the oil on these bikes about every other ride. Now, after all the oil has drained out of the bike, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab your oil drain plug. You're going to want to stick it back up into the slot where it went, and you're going to want to screw it in. Now, I just want to let everyone know that when you're changing the oil on your dirt bike, you have to make sure you have the correct oil. These SSR 125s, they take 10W40 non-synthetic. So if you use synthetic in here, the clutch is going to start slipping, because the clutch is a wet clutch. So that means that they sit into the oil, that the same oil that the motor does. So you want to make sure that you have the correct oil, because if you put car oil in here, you're gonna burn out your clutch. It's not gonna shift good and you're gonna have problems. So make sure you have the correct oil. So now you're gonna fill it in. This bike right here takes a little bit less than a quart. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna put the whole entire quart in, and it's gonna have just a little bit more oil than it needs, but that'll be okay, because the amount of oil that's in here, I think, is exactly 1 ounce more than this bike takes. So I run it with a full quart every time, and I haven't had a single problem. We already have 100 hours on this bike. These are Chinese-made pit bikes, so I feel the more oil you have in them, the better. But you just want to make sure that they don't overfill. When I check this, I'm gonna dip it down in here like so, and I'm gonna lift it back up. And as you guys can see, it's right there at the full line. So I'm gonna screw this back on and move on to the next step. So for the next step, what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna wanna clean your air filter. Now, these air filters are nice because they have sleeves that you can take off and remove, and you can clean the sleeve and throw it back on without getting the under filter dirty. But sometimes you do have to clean the under filter as well. So what you do is you just take this off, clean it. You can get no 12 products. You can get whatever you like. Cleaning your air filter is your preference and up to you. Just make sure that you put some type of cleaner on this, and then make sure you put some type of oil when you put it back on. All right, and for the next step, what you want to do is you want to grab a small wrench. You want to come down here to your tires, and you want to grab the nipple right here, and you're going to want to snug them down on the rim, and you're going to want to make sure that they're not too tight. The threads are only about this long, so you can strip them out very easy. You just want to make sure they're snug. My rule of thumb is I use my pinky, and I use my index finger, and I hold right on here, and I just go like that. And as soon as it's like snug, I just let go. Also, after that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to check your chain tension. So I use a rule of thumb for a pit bike. I normally do 2 fingers. On a regular dirt bike, I'll use 3 fingers, and you just want to have about that much gap. Now, as you can see, this has a lot of gapping in it. What you normally would do is you would unscrew this bolt right here and just loosen it up. Don't take it all the way off. And then you would adjust this bolt right here to bring it out, and then you would tighten this bolt down to make it tight. I'm not going to do that in this video because I do have pro taper chains, and that'll be another video all on its own, so I could show you guys how to do that when I remove this. Also, I'll tell you guys how to remove chains that don't have master links, as well as installing a new chain with a master link, and how to get the right size for your chain on your bike so you guys can put it on and be ready to go as soon as you put it on. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you guys like the content like this, make sure you subscribe to see more. Also, this concludes your maintenance on your pit bike / dirt bike. If you guys do this, your bikes are going to last a really long time, and you're not going to have a lot of issues with them. So make sure you stay up on the maintenance. That's very important. Things do happen, so it's not guaranteed that nothing's never going to happen to your bike, but this is going to make sure that you can ride it for as long as you possibly can. Now, these pit bikes right here, they are Chinese pit bikes. Everyone talks a bunch of smack on them, and it says that they are junk and garbage. I have 100 hours on them, and I ride them very hard. I hit rev limiter all the time on these bikes. I do just take care of the maintenance on it, and they have lasted me a year now. 100 hours on both pit bikes. Alyssa and I, we both just ride them really, really hard. So as long as you guys take care of the maintenance on your bikes, they're gonna last a long time. So until next time, we'll see you later. Peace.